Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Leroy. I believe most of you have met me either online or through phone calls or even in one of the centers that we've met before. So fantastic. Here is IT Value Management for CIOs. It's a workshop that CIO Academy is conducting today, and we are bringing that to you in Bangkok. We are also doing a series of this around Asia at this point. So CIO Academy is an organization that we started out in Singapore, and we are moving over into Asia to bring IT knowledge and IT sharing between CIOs, between IT leaders like yourselves, and of course with practitioner point of view as well as from the academic side. So today we are very fortunate. We have almost my entire team here. We have my president for CIO Academy, Glenn Francis over there, Rama, my deputy CEO, Sushil. Alright, Sushil is our trainer for today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 2 hours workshop today, and it's going to be split into three different topics. Alright, within IT value management. It's just a very simple introduction workshop for you to get the awareness of how IT value management can be applied to your organization, and how you can bring this value back, and how you can communicate value to your board or to your business users back in your organization. So after that, we're going to go for lunch, and after lunch, we're going to have a panel session where we are again very fortunate today. We have Candice from Singtel, the largest incumbent telecom company in Singapore, who is going to share about some use cases on how she has managed IT and how she has managed this value within the organization itself. Now, we also have Mark, who is an executive coach, right? And he's a very experienced guy in agile and in coaching towards how to manage your leadership within the organization, right? So I won't go too much into this today, but last and just the last little bit, I would like to thank A10 for sponsoring today's session, without which we won't be here. Thank you, A10.
Okay, gentlemen. I would like to say ladies, but start for Candice, of course. Like we were just commenting just now that the IT industry needs more women, But anyway, I thought it's useful for me just to set the context of the sharing session today, so that all of us will be on the same page, and then we can get maximum value from your very precious time. I know most of you are very busy at your own work, and you set aside a couple of hours here today to spend it with us. So we want to make sure that the time that you spend with us, okay, is valuable, and there will be takeaways for you. Okay, now what do I mean by that? I mentioned it to one or two of you just now, is that a lot of the work that we do in CIO Academy Asia is practitioner. I emphasize the word practitioner because you have attended many events, and I have done so, in my last 3 decades of involvement in Singapore. I was working with the Singapore government, so I attended many events, and you always try, and when you attend the event, you normally get a very theoretical, or you get a very academic, or people who want to share with you what is already known in the market, right? Of course, that will still happen here today, but what's important is that you get to hear from people who are actually doing the work day to day, operationally. Okay, and that's what's going to happen later during the panel discussion. Okay, you have people sharing their experiences, and when they go back, they'll go back to their work and continue to use whatever that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so we use the phrase, CIOs sharing with CIOs, okay, their relevant experience, with relation to the topic today. Okay, so let's make this session interactive. Although just now we said Sushil is going to spend 2 hours, Sushil cringed a bit. He said 2 hours, wow, everybody's like, oh, we're going to take 2 hours of this, right? Of course, we're going to break it up into 3 parts, right? And there will be every half an hour or so, we'll ask you whether is there anything that you need to verify with him. Okay. Then at the end of it, hopefully there will be discussions during lunch, and then after that, please, whatever questions, burning issues that you have, bring it up, make it very interactive today, because at the end of the day, we want to hear from you as well. It's not just us. It's not going to be like a lecture, students kind of a session, right? We hope that you can also participate. And for those of you who are not very comfortable asking questions, you can always write your questions on a piece of paper and share it with us, and we'll try our best to address it. So, without further ado, Sushil.
So that's saying that you can make it as attractive as possible, and we all collectively have a lot to share. So let's make this a sharing session. So I'm not here to necessarily, tell you new stuff and stuff that you don't already know per se, although in a field that I have been long associated with, my background from enterprise architecture all the way to framework creator and so on. So I just want to highlight the salient points in this. Now we will have in this workshop, it's sort of broken up into 3 parts. We want to have a part that it's all under the theme of value management, IT value management, but managing IT for business value. And as I was sharing with someone earlier before this, is that the time is now. In fact, we talk a little bit about it, we can talk a little bit about it. The time is actually now, because IT can deliver or is delivering. So this is very topical. Then secondly, we will be looking at some approaches and case studies where organizations have done this, and then what resources are there may be available for you to actually embark on this journey to success. So how should CIOs actually be thinking about business value? This actually comes from McKinsey. McKinsey did a study jointly with CIGREF. Now CIGREF is a French organization, but they did a study globally, internationally I should say, not globally necessarily. And these are some of the findings that come out of that study. And it's very interesting to note that firstly, they come out with this sort of triangle, if you will. Okay, how should CIOs be thinking about business value? The first thing is that IT is undoubtedly central to creating value, and it therefore continues to account for a rising share of total investment in most organizations today. In fact, it is seen that IT is actually one of the biggest consumer of expenditures in organizations today. But at the same time, defining, measuring and maximizing of that value remains quite elusive. So as I mentioned, they did this study, and what the study does is that it provides some quite useful insights, and it draws directly from the experiences, and this is the important part, the experiences of CIOs that they interviewed. Many of those companies have successfully used IT to gain competitive advantage, and that's what we want. In fact, in that vein, I'm reading still a very interesting book called Compete with IT by Colin Ashworth. And that's just on the side. If you'll find the time, that's quite an interesting how you can actually use IT to compete. So, analyzing their approaches to IT, these CIOs have to show that it can promote the economic or business performance. And as we shall see later on, business performance is what it's all about. It's not IT for IT's sake, it's business performance. And at the best companies in the study, the CIO, CEO, and the business units essentially co-create value, what they call value in use. So they co-create value in use, and they integrate the elements of the framework that this diagram represents. But before we sort of go a little bit, we need to know that we need to identify to tap the potential of value, we need to understand a little bit about the challenges to you and to this business side, especially to you as CIOs. Okay, so that's what we want to talk about following this. So first and foremost, value itself. So clearly there are challenges for both the CIOs and CEOs and business unit head. For CIOs, one of the key challenges is not only to understand what value is, what is expected of IT in terms of value terms, but more importantly to formulate and express them in business terms so that to engage the business and communicate with business. The other challenge for CIOs is to sell their ideas, and this is very important, especially now that CIOs today are innovators. They are looked upon as innovators. Chief Innovation Officer, you might say, not information necessarily only, but also innovation. To sell their ideas on business IT initiatives which bring business benefit. So needless to say, the CIOs have to keep their job only if they can ensure faultless execution. Faultless execution is taken for granted. And by the way, in order for this to happen, the IT function needs to be organized in the right manner, or let's say there is implication for the way IT organizations are organized. That's very important. The IT function, how it is organized within the organization. So that was the challenge. That is challenges on value. Now there is this concept of action levers. Okay? And in action levers, it's a key goal for CIO in finding where the levers that IT can pull and use, and the business units together with the business units and how they interact. So these levers are very important. So developing the fresh synergies between the IT and the business units create this wider range of skills. Note this wider range of skills for the CIO. So beyond, let's say, the CIO's traditional comfort zone, and that's what is the call to action. That is, the CIO needs to extend his skill set, extend his skill set beyond his traditional role that he's been used to. So joint ownership with the business projects, working partnership with the business will attest to this thing. Okay, so that's action levers. Then that of course follows on with the alliances and roles, new roles that the CIO has to perform. So the CIOs need to project that IT performance in business terms, as I just mentioned, which will, by the way, resound with business leaders because that's the language that they understand and speak on a daily basis. So, but to be secure in this new role that is not quite so technical per se, the CIOs have to develop this range of skills. So that is what we are saying, and this is what McKinsey is saying, that you need to develop these new skills. And what will happen is that this will better align itself with both business and IT finally reading from the same script, reading from the same page, as it were. And communications become more efficient since less translation time. Take out the technical jargon and look at talk in terms of more business. So these are some of the points that was. I will focus a little bit on this study. We're coming to the end of it, but just bear with me for that. The final aspect that they talk about is that governance. As you will see later, that this actually is part and parcel of governance of IT, and that's something that I am very passionate about because for far too long, governance of IT has, in a way, been under the covers, and we need to bring it up as a key imperative for organizations today. To give the emerging collaborative effort better grounding, CIOs should create forums with the business and set common priorities. Value creation through IT becomes the central theme for IT governance because actually, in terms of definition wise, enterprises exist because they create value for their stakeholders and for no other reason. It is only for creation of value. That's why enterprises exist. Therefore, the governance of IT requires that be an integral part of the corporate governance of the enterprise, and that has to be recognized as such from the very top of the organization. Okay, so enough on that of that from the study, at least it gives us a picture on how CIOs should view value and what are some of the key imperatives for them. Now, for the purposes of this workshop, if you will, is that we are not looking to make you into experts in sort of thing. Its target is at the familiarization stage. And here we are talking about bringing or emphasizing the fact that you have a basic understanding of IT value management. So that's the stage that we are. Of course, there are higher levels that we can aspire to, and we will be talking about some of the next steps towards the end of the workshop. But this is where we are looking at. Okay. So, to start off with, we actually, shouldn't sound too alarmist about it, but the statistics are quite alarming. And then this shouldn't surprise you. I'm sure most of you would have known that things like this, Standish, Chaos Group, 18% of projects fail to get implemented, 43% of projects delivered late, 33% of completed projects don't deliver, cost overrun, right? And then 33% projects fail to meet the business objectives for which they are labeled. And I will share with you a study that was done by IBM of 1,000 CIOs globally, and that is quite telling where the problems are. So at the 33% fail to be mentioned. Now, what is the impact of these statistics on value? Well, it has been shown that while 54%, slightly more than half, realize the business value, but almost half, 46%, don't realize the business value of the initiative. In fact, Gartner estimates that globally, and this figures was quite a number of years back, some $500 billion are wasted annually on ill-executed and ill-conceived IT-enabled initiatives. These are business initiatives, IT-enabled business initiatives, and that's what we're talking about here. But 500 billion, that's a staggering sum. Business value fail to meet their achievements. So, in this context, so how do we grapple with this? Well, we know that today the digitalization is upon us. Okay, digitalization is the key to achieve business transformation for the enterprises. Today, IT, we're talking about social media. Imagine 5 years ago, these things were unimaginable, and the pace at which it is being developed is it's astronomical. It's really accelerating. So it's a third era, going from the early days to industrialization to now the digitalization is transformation. So in this context, in terms of issues, Gartner has got some interesting advice for us. They say that actually CIOs need to address this with a trio of what they call flipping. So this flipping is in three respects. So one is the information and technology leadership, flipping from legacy first to digital first. We talk about digitalization, right? So that's in this way. The second one, which is what we are talking about today, is value leadership, and these are CIO issues. This came from 2015 Gartner forum, CIO forum. So it is current and it is relevant. So we'll be talking a little bit more about this value leadership. Really, what does it mean? from visible to valuable. Okay? And the third one is people leadership, from control to vision. So let's focus a little bit on this one. I just would like to highlight to you the forward to that Gartner article on this forum to show you that value leadership, basically the three flips. That value leadership has a key role to play as one of threes. The technology and people leadership we sort of can understand, but the value leadership tends to, as I said earlier, tends to be a bit elusive. So what does it mean in terms of the value leadership? The flip that is required in terms of the value leadership. Well, first of all, it is they talk about value creation, the creation of value from IT, from just being merely efficient in IT. So turning the perspective a little bit on just putting the fires out, delivering on time, on budget, and so on, but really creating the notion of business value with the focus on business value. Not forgetting at the same time that we need to deliver IT efficiently. That doesn't go away. And then the second flip is actually from the business case to a business life cycle, to understand the nature that benefits actually observe, follow a life cycle of benefits actually, from the ideation of value to the retirement when value no longer is sustained or no longer can be realized. So that it's a benefits life cycle. And thirdly is that from hit and hope, that is a kind of a silo approach. I'll have a little bit more to talk about this third point. To platform value, looking at the digitized platforms that things like ERP, for instance, can give, and that is organizations are realizing value for doing that. Okay, so just to put it in context, we see that what's happening today is that there's this. I don't have to tell you this. You live this on a daily basis. There's overwhelming demand on IT, and IT is seen pretty much as a black box by the business. We talk about business and IT. So what happens is that, there are these issues, right? We have disparate systems that reduce the efficiency. There are these symptoms. So these are the challenges that we need to address as CIOs. So I mentioned earlier on that there was a study that was done by IBM. Where are these, in terms of management areas, where are these central focused? In other words, where are the source of these troubles? Well, they mapped out, they say, where do things usually go wrong? And what they found was that, 15% actually are in the area of program and project management. Okay, so that is 15% of the source of problems. And then 33% is really in architecture management and asset management. But a key area is really more than 52% is strategy and portfolio management. So that gives us some insight into where is the source of these troubles in terms of management areas of management. 52%. So just to give you, this is the relative focus where things go wrong. So again, this comes from IBM. So in order to meet this challenge, actually, IT has to build on its strength. Today's IT strength, we know what it can do, managing the IT to deliver efficiency and so on. But really, it needs to go into new generation IT strengths. People like Mark will be talking about a little bit later in the afternoon in the panel about Agile, the contribution that Agile can give. So these are things that are new generation IT strengths.